is it an away day? Is it a company day out? Is it a strategy day? And then I realised that there's actually lots of different flavours of this. And what do you do it for?
So pitfalls then, mistaken activity for progress, thinking that just because you're doing it that you're actually moving something forward.
Is it really a discussion group about what their strategy should be, or are we just being told and we're expected to nod? And I think most of the time people presume it's the latter.
And there is some evidence to suggest that psychologically physical distance helps improve mental distance.
And be prepared that it may not just have everybody agreeing and just nodding along. You know, a good day may create a lot of disagreement. We're on.
Engines.
I still think we should have a red light outside. You know, just saying on air, just because it makes it feel like proper radio studio.
Bit of context there.
Yeah.
There we go.
So how are you doing?
Good.
It's warm outside.
It is warm outside.
Recording. It's cold inside.
Well, this I went to the Coombe Village barbecue at the weekend.
Oh, a village barbecue.
Village barbecue.
That conjures up images, you know, this lazy, idyllic English scene.
It
Hoopla
is,
going on, maybe a little tombola in the corner.
It is very...
Is there a dog show, bring your pet
there is at the main... This is a mini version of it.
Oh, I see. Right.
They opened up the cellars of the village hall, which so you could go down and have a look.
Oh, I thought you meant it like wine cellars.
Well, they're kind of ancient cellars. I don't quite know what's going on, but anyway,
didn't have wine in them.
They were there, and anyway, it happens to be next to the church where me and Mrs. Buckle got married.
Oh, have they got a blue plaque up?
Many.
This is where the famous Richard Buckle of podcast fame.
Do one day, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was quite nice because you could just go in. We were just in there. We stood in the place where we took our vows.
Did you recreate it? Did you retake your vows? Renew your vows?
Well, we stood in the place where we said them. We didn't officially renew them. but what got me? So I was reading some of the plaques on the wall, and I thought to myself, we don't speak the way that people used to speak, do we?
Funny that. Who knows?
Not in the sense of like just the vocabulary people had.
Yeah.
Then is different. So here's a little example for you. So there was a family. So it said, "Here lies the body of Robert Crescott, Esquire." I thought I quite like that. I quite like an Esquire.
Yeah. Well, you own some land. I think that's the definition of.
Is that you just got to own a bit of land?
You got freehold on your property.
Is it?
You're an Esquire.
Well, there we go.
Richard Buckle Esquire. We should change the name on the business card.
There we go.
Email signature.
So it said, "Whose good nature gained him the love." Gained him the love, his probity the esteem, his sincerity the friendship, both of his equals and superiors. Well, that sounds good, isn't it?
Well, I think you have.
That's nice.
Esteem of your equals and your superiors.
So both of his, it says his affability got him the respect of his dependents, and his charity the prayers of the poor, so that he preferred the dignity of his family and died lamented by all.
Do you think when it comes to write something for you that would be the sort of thing people would say?
I might forward that. That could
go. Put a request in.
That could go in my personal
I need you to say this.
HubSpot death box.
Yeah. I'm betting you've got one as well. I love that thought though, that someone was prepared to come up with that wording, which is very nice.
In the 17th century, and then it was his wife was next to him. She died about 5 years later, and then his son and I don't know. They must have been reasonably well-to-do of the era.
Must have been wealthy, yeah.
But yeah, I thought, it's just interesting.
Just a language choice.
I just thought we don't use
the
that
esteem of his peers and his superiors.
Yeah. You just think we should all work on our vocabulary a little bit and just.
I think that's a good point. Maybe we should come up with an unusual word every week.
Yeah, word of the week.
Just sort of slip it into the podcast.
Yeah. Or if anybody's got a word of the week that they want us to. I think I had elephants once from someone.
Elephants was a word that you had to slip in.
A certain sales director.
We all know who he is.
So he asked me to get elephants.
He of cigarette smuggling fame.
Yes. One and the
Responding
same.
to your story of the trip
one
to
and the
Andorra.
same, yes.
Right, well, before we go too much into the criminal activities of cross-border contraband, we ought to do a podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow. And this week, Rich and I are going to try and entertain you again with some more useful or interesting topics and tips for owners and managers of small and medium-sized businesses. Or enterprises.
Or enterprises.
This SMB, SME thing. I'm presuming it's just an Americanism, right?
Tomato.
Yeah, true. So anyway, we're going for SME because that seems to be the British way of doing things.
Enterprise. But is that different? How is that enterprise different to a business? Enterprise seems more like a verb.
Enterprise is kind of an undertaking, a thing. You'd set out on
an endeavour,
enterprise,
like Shackleton-esque. Isn't it?
That's an enterprise, isn't
it?
Yeah,
we've
an
got
adventure.
Yeah.
But a business implies it's purely a money-making thing. Whereas does an enterprise, that could be non-profit or social enterprise? Or
it hasn't quite got the grandeur to it, has it? Business sounds a bit...
The business.
Business.
You mean business?
Or just the humdrum.
Enterprise
bit
sounds
humdrum,
more adventurous.
Maybe. Bit humdrum, business.
Yeah.
But I think enterprise is more like we've got a quest. We're on a quest here, guys.
Joint
Let's go.
enterprise.
Let's go.
The USS Enterprise.
Yeah.
See, it's
Star
definitely.
Trek
So we're going for
Enterprise,
SME. Okay. SME Growth Podcast. No guests this week. It's just you and me again. And I heard something on the radio which was talking about a company away day, and I thought, I wonder, has there been any research on that? So that was what I thought I'd suggest to you for my contribution. Normally you come up with all the podcast suggestions, so I thought I'd chip in with one and see what you thought.
Well, it's that time of year, isn't it, when people are...
I think there's a bit of an away day theme going on,
or company day, company barbecue.
Well, it just got me thinking, do many people do that then? Is that a thing? Has there been any research on that? Is it for a purpose or is it just a rule? Anyway, we'll talk about all of that. So if we make it through, what episode will this be if it's published?
This will be episode 179,
Ooh.
Just one short of the...
179. 179. So what were the last three? Please, Mr. Buckle.
Could you get 179 darts? No, it's not possible, is it?
You can't get 59, can you?
No. There we go.
Didn't we give up on that on 170?
Yeah, I think you can't go any higher, can you?
Two triple 20s and a bullseye.
Something like that.
That was your lot. So what was 176?
176 was the kind of CRM versus Excel. He still uses spreadsheets.
How to convert your spreadsheet, and it's more about how to convert your mindset away from spreadsheets to a proper system.
So that was 176. 177, we talked about chairman versus CEO.
Yes, that was interesting. I know you got an interesting few likes on LinkedIn for that post on the shorts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people were interested in the thought about SMEs having chairman. But they did use the clip which says, I asked you, do you think SMEs should have a chairman? And you say, no, not necessarily. And that's what seemed to get the likes.
Rage baiting LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. So you managed to get a reaction.
That's what we like to do.
Exactly.
I could probably get bigger reactions if we want to go.
Let's not play that competition.
How big a reaction can we get? And then 178, Elon Musk's 5-step process for SMEs. So
yeah, he didn't couch it that way, did he? He didn't say this is what SMEs should do. He was more of an advice to engineers generally, and his 5-step process anyway. Which I think was something like get rid of the ridiculous or something, wasn't it? That was number one. Challenge requirements.
Yeah. Don't automate.
Delete steps, and then it's a challenge now. We talked about it last week.
No, don't automate too quickly.
And then do something, and then go faster. Test it first, then go faster, then automate.
And he says he basically used to do it in the reverse.
And he got it all wrong and went in reverse. And then when he realised that and did it right, he got better.
Well, I think his premise was that a lot of engineers will optimise a problem that isn't actually a problem.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit when I was at university, they tried to teach us about defining requirements. And someone said they needed you to design a lawnmower. If you go and challenge the requirements, what they actually wanted is to keep the grass short, and therefore that would involve solutions that it could include buying a goat, which isn't designing a lawnmower. So be quite clear. Does somebody actually want the lawnmower, or do they just want short grass? So it's like when people say, I want to put a CRM in. Well, do you? Or do you just want a single source of the
magical
truth?
growth?
Or do you want more growth? Or
magical growth is normally the answer.
Solve all my problems. So that brings us to 179 then. So on this topic, you've done a bit of research on this as well. I saw you busying away, and you've been our researcher for the week.
Researcher, well, off the back of your research. So
I did a bit of research, you did a bit of research, yeah. So go on, what did you ever think, when I first suggested it, what sprang to mind? Because we've done the odd company away day, haven't we?
I haven't booked anything for this year.
We're going to book it. I was going to book that thing you suggested in Manchester, but you said they weren't inclusive enough.
wasn't quite what I said.
What was the problem with their exclusivity?
I think there may be some members of the team
some members who shall remain nameless.
That might be on the border of.
Are we talking from experience of double parachute buckle here?
It's the parachute of shame.
The parachute of shame on the zip wire in North Wales.
Yeah,
that was a good one. So you're just remembering back. We've done a few wacky days out. We've done the zip wire one.
Zip wire. Did whitewater rafting. Was a good one.
Whitewater rafting. That was good. I managed to.
I forgot that.
The guy said, "Do you ever go?"
Who wants to steer the boat? He's like, I've done lots of paddling. I can
do
canoe,
and
I know all this stuff. And so, having taken control of the vessel,
loosely described.
We turned around about 30 seconds later. We're like, "Where's Dave?"
Meanwhile, I was floating down the river. Surely we're going to turn around in a minute and realise that I've been bounced off the back. That's how much they cared about their skipper.
Yeah.
So we did whitewater rafting.
Whitewater rafting.
We did do a kayaking trip, which was a little bit more sedate.
That was a bit more sedate.
Walked up the Long Mynd. Been up Snowdon in the rain.
Oh, that was quite epic.
With Rob, with his big bag of trail mix.
4 kilos of trail mix.
It was heavier than my backpack. Yeah, we were certainly well looked after for trail mix.
Well, that's where we did the meal as well, which we'll touch on that again because that's part of the conversation actually.
Right.
So we did the tasting menu, didn't we, with Chris Burr?
Oh yes, that was nice. That yeah.
So that was quite nice.
So back to the theory of these away days, because when I started researching it, I was thinking, well, what do you really call it? Is it an away day? Is it a company day out? Is it a strategy day? And then I realised that there's actually lots of different flavours of this. And what do you do it for? And what did we do it for? Was it more just as a break? Is it a reward? Is it just a...
I think it was a little bit of team building, a bit of a break, a little bit of a reward. And that's,
but it wasn't formally, it could have been team building-esque, but it wasn't formally a team building.
No, it wasn't a kind of, we didn't build a raft or anything.
Do the whole fall back into someone's arms type thing.
The trust leap or whatever it is.
The leap, yeah, and all that.
But I think that was one of the questions that the research was asking, was to actually be clear about, are you clear about what it is that you're actually doing?
Yeah, well, it certainly said so when I asked it what research has there been done, there wasn't an awful lot independent academic research on that reward sort of day.
Yeah.
There's a reasonable amount of chatter online about the team building days, but most of it is put out by the team building industry. So I don't think you can say there's any independent research on that. And not surprisingly, they all say, what a great idea it is. Go and do some team building.
Well, the research from Chartered Management Institute and Advanced Institute of Management found that 80% of organisations do strategy workshops or away days, and yet only 40% report little or no measurable impact from them.
Yeah. So I suppose it depends who you ask, but that was a combination of strategy and or away days. Yeah. And
so
little or no measurable. So, how do you...
But how do you measure it?
That was a survey response, I guess, so more of a subjective
but I suppose
it
does raise an interesting question, regardless of whether or not those statistics are actually true or not. It's more, are you measuring how do you measure the output, and are you measuring the output of those?
Well, and would you have to take it over a longer period of time? Because it could well be that the benefit of an away day is someone has a longer tenure with the company. Well, you wouldn't know that until, say, 5 years on, and people haven't left. How do you measure them?
And I think some of it is more intangible as well that happens. So one of the things, so why do people do them? One of the reasons is this kind of getting away from the day-to-day.
Yeah.
And there is some evidence to suggest that psychologically physical distance helps improve mental distance.
I think getting away from the physical space, the familiarity of your surroundings, your desk, the staring at a screen thing.
Yeah.
We're just doing that all day long. So get away from that. And if you can get an environment where everyone's on a level footing, so no one's got the corner office anymore when you're stood in a field trying to, I don't know what you can do, make a raft or something out of barrels, whatever you do. So I guess there's that point of it all. But we've never done that team building a bit. It's just about getting out. And we've been into Birmingham and had a look around, go to a restaurant. We've done stuff that just is fun, interesting, different.
Shared experience.
Now, we're a smallish company, single-digit number of employees, so you can afford to take everybody and that's easy. If you're in a 50 to 100 person company, 200 person company, then you can't take everybody all at once unless you're going to do like a big family day where you close the factory for the day, put the marquee up, get the barbecue in, invite all the families. I've seen that sort of thing done before. And I think that has a benefit, but it's not quite what I was thinking of when I had this in my mind, the team away, office day out.
Yeah.
It was more, I think we've always regarded it more as just a nice thing to do, part of the package. And I don't think there's much research on that. And I wondered how many companies just do that. Let's have an office day out rather than calling it a team building day or a strategy day or a business planning day or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies will do like the races or something, won't they? Or that type of thing.
Yeah, I suppose they do that, but that's definitely enjoyment, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not a lot building. Yeah. But then you're into the realms of reward, aren't you, a little bit?
Yeah. So there's a little bit about that, but then there's this thought about the strategic day. And there was some interesting research that said they are much more likely to be successful if they're quite structured.
Yeah.
I think just the idea of going away and, let's say, talk about strategy. And we've been part of some of those. I've sometimes more frustratingly, you get invited to go along as a facilitator of a strategy day, and they don't actually want a facilitator there. They want sort of almost someone to stop the arguments or whatever it is. And they actually just like to talk about their perspectives. But that has value. I guess people are saying stuff there and they're giving the space to think around topics they don't normally think about. But I don't know how you measure the effectiveness of that.
No, but I think it's one of those things. So they're quite common, aren't they? Most companies feel like they have to do some sort of strategic away day on a annual basis, or
that's a good point there. Do they feel as if they have to, rather than
is it
they
part?
Want to?
Yeah, is it part of a kind of this is just what you do if you're a grown-up company or something?
We're doing the right
part
thing.
of the calendar, and we do the planning, and we do the whatever and the whatever. And I suppose we've talked about it before, right? Strategy on the podcast and around, how oftentimes you come away from these days and everybody's all aligned and inspired and everything else, and then it
good positive mood for the day
goes. Does the strategy end up then living on the shelf for a while? But I think there's been some research into what kind of formats work best. There's not much in the way of a lot of it's anecdotal. How much time should be social versus actual tactical? So do you do this, the strategy workshop in the morning and then spend the afternoon, making a film together or building a raft or doing, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Do you stay overnight and have a meal?
Well, I think that's where those we've been involved in before, if it's a proper structured strategic day or sometimes 2, or I've even been on one 3 days in the past. I mean, it's larger companies and lots of different people being asked to give presentations, but it's really the evenings where people look forward to going.
Yeah.
So there's partly that I'm getting some free beer or wine or whatever on the company. I'm staying in a swanky hotel that the company's paying for. I think also there's a bit of a status thing. Who's invited? And I remember there's one client we used to do this for, and they had a number in mind as to how many they wanted to take. And they realised it's a bit like layers of the onion. You can't have one person from the next orbit layer out.
Yeah.
You could take the lot. Otherwise, they had this phenomenon they called the 13th fairy, which is you can't have the one that didn't get invited.
Yeah.
And so you either have a tight-knit group of, 3, 4, 5 or whatever the core of maybe the shareholder group or the senior members of the board, or the whole of the board plus some senior managers, or the next level down or the next level down. So you can't just pick a number and stick to it. You end up either being 4, 10, 25 or 50, it's these sort of very discrete
I
steps.
suppose as well, it depends on what you're trying to achieve out of the time together, isn't it? If you're looking for real, we've really got to make decisions and we've got to choose a direction and we've got to do all of that, having 30 people try and make that is... You don't. That's probably more. That's more of a comms
cascade
piece, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
so then you're into
disseminating the strategy that's already been agreed upon, rather than coming up with it for the first time.
So upsides of doing this. So there's kind of an upsides, and there's also, I was quite interested. Are there any downsides in doing this? I think there possibly are. So there is that, what we talked about, like creating that strategic distance.
Yeah.
And actually
Give you a bit of mental space.
Having that mental space and just getting into a different kind of...
And I think you think differently when you're not in your familiar surroundings. You're immediately on a bit more of a fight or flight. Is this a safe space? And I don't have my protected office where you come in and my chair's higher than yours and the window's behind me and all that stuff.
It's just sort of disrupting your neural pathways, maybe.
A
bit like with Lego Play, isn't it? Like when you're doing Lego Play,
yes.
You put yourself into like we talked about before with Winston Churchill and his bricklaying.
Yes.
Puts you in a different... You're looking to shift your mindset into a different gear. So saying often it can produce better conversations than what happens in a normal meeting. And whether that's just because maybe you've got a little bit more time or you feel there's a little bit more permission to do that, or...
Yeah, it may be that because then you have a facilitator. I think that makes a difference. When I've facilitated groups, I am more able to ask the senior people to just, could you pause that thought for a moment because I'd like to hear what these more junior people want to say, whereas they don't tend to invite that in their normal meetings. So that's if it's facilitated. I think even if it's not facilitated, you probably still get a better quality of conversation because maybe the senior people realise that they're there to hear what everybody else thinks, whereas at work they don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's maybe space for more kind of different conversations.
Yeah. But interestingly, the research showed that an awful lot of this happens. There's billions of dollars around the world spent on strategic retreats, away days, planning sessions, whatever you want to call them, and yet hardly any evidence shows that it's worthwhile, other than anecdotally, where people say, in the short term, yes, it was okay. It's a good thing to do. But they've not managed to map it to improve business outcomes or...
It'd be so hard to control all the variables though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm not saying it's easy, but no one maybe have tried, I don't know, but they don't seem to have come up with answers that make it obvious.
Research, PhD research topic.
I think there's a topic there. You'd have to go on a lot of away
Well,
days.
I tell you what though, there'd be that's a bit like the business model canvas, isn't it? That if you could crack the strategic away day formula, that would be an absolute money maker.
Yeah, I do wonder, especially for these larger groups, whether you actually agree any strategy at them at all. I think it's more about cascade. And you could cascade in other ways, right? So then it begs the question, where did the strategy get actually formed then? And on the whole, I think it's a bit artificial to say we're going to have a strategy away day and that's when the strategy comes into being. It's not as if the owner of the business probably and the other senior leaders didn't probably already have a bit of an idea of where they were going and what they wanted to do or not do.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it's not as if you just turn up and go, right, we need a completely new strategy. There's often, is it a reinforcement or it's not, there's never anything completely novel.
Well, it road tests ideas maybe you get a chance to talk about that in a safe environment. But if you don't dress it up as we are telling you what our strategy is, but you're instead saying, here's some ideas, what do you think? Then maybe that's a safer space for people to still disagree because they don't think it's formed yet, even if behind the scenes it has been. Whereas if you just go into your conference room at work and you're saying, right, here's a presentation about the next year's strategy, then you're not going to put your hand up and say, I don't think you got the right idea there. I think we should be moving into Morocco.
So it's a safe space we're creating.
So I think there's a bit of that.
So you've got the create the distance, strategic distance, get out the office, different environment, better quality conversations potentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Building trust.
I think trust. For sure.
Whether that's from a kind of shared experience.
Well, if nothing else, there's certainly the bit over the drinks where I think you just see that other people are human. And so you're improving those relationships in that way. That you just, you find out a bit more about someone's family or the holiday plans perhaps, or what their hobbies are, that type of thing, which you don't necessarily do depending on the work environment. But there may be that the exercise itself requires you to build trust, which will be more of a team building day,
Well, there's that trust equation, isn't there?
You like your trust equation. Have you remembered
what
it is?
I try to remember it and then I always forget and get it wrong. But from a book called The Trusted Advisor, and it's trust is equal to credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. So if you think that by going away and just having a meal with someone, you may not boost credibility or reliability, but you're certainly increasing intimacy. and self-orientation stays the same, then you're going to increase trust, aren't you?
So the point there being that if self-orientation is too high, it reduces trust.
Yeah.
You've got to, is that in the eye of the perceiver, I presume? You've got to perceive someone else as not doing this for themselves.
Yeah,
doing
they're
it
not being Machiavellian about it or anything.
And they're credible,
just...
reliable, and interested.
So, and I guess you could build some more credibility.
Was I interested?
Intimacy.
Intimate. Okay. So it's not a
Which, if you go out and share a meal with someone,
Hmm.
then that's always, I can see how that some of those things you might, I mean,
I think there's probably a lot to be said for sharing meals.
I think
We
it's
don't
a
do
huge
that
amount.
enough, do we?
No, I think there's a huge amount of sharing
Some
food.
companies used to have canteens. Remember the director's canteen?
Directors, yeah.
You're too young for that? Where they used to have a kitchen staff and waitresses just for the director's canteen.
Wow.
Alcohol used to be taken. I remember in the factory I used to work up in Scotland, oak panelled rooms, kitchen designed off the side of it. And the directors, there are only about 10 directors, but they could all turn up at various points and be served a 3-course meal with a glass of wine.
That just seems like quite a crazy thought, doesn't it?
It does.
For
It's
most
just absolutely
SMEs,
mad.
it's just
Absolutely mad.
you think at what point in the company did somebody think that was a good idea?
I think it's feathering the nest. It's we made it up to the top, so we're going to give ourselves some treats. I can't think there's any other reason other than saying it's part of our package. We make the rules, and we're going to make them suit us.
I think that's over different eras. It still happens, but maybe just in different ways now. I don't know.
Well, it probably does happen in different ways. It doesn't happen that way, for sure. I haven't heard of a director's canteen and certainly no alcohol at work for a long, long time. But maybe they get the football tickets or whatever, the golf day outing, because it's dressed up as a marketing and sales activity, but the seniors all go along. Maybe it's that sort of thing. And maybe what you really need is every team should come up with their own one, and whether you're in charge of the warehouse or the facilities management team or IT, you can't do, if you've got a company of 100 or 200 people, you can't necessarily, like we said earlier, go all out at once. But why can't the IT team have a day out?
Yeah.
And they organise something, go to, whatever they want to go and do, and then the marketing team do their own thing, and HR go and do their own thing, or maybe 2 or 3 teams get together. But then I think the danger is you get this almost hierarchy. Oh, their day out was better than ours. What did theirs cost? Or theirs was more interesting. I would have rather have gone on their one. Or why did HR get to go together with finance and a few of the directors, because they're spending time with them all day long, better relationships. And us lot down here in IT or on the shop floor, we don't get to go with them.
Well, do you then start creating cliques rather than collaboration?
Cliques, right? Oh, cliques.
Cliques, sorry.
Cliques. Not
Cliques.
click as in clickbait. Cliques.
Cliques.
You
Sorry.
had an American clique.
I had an Americanism there, sorry. It's all this talk of strategy workshops, you see.
It
All
put
of a
you
sudden,
into American
I want to
mode.
go to a ranch. And
Ranch. You've been watching the World Cup where the offence is doing better than the defence in the 0-0 scoreline.
Well, the defence was very good last night if you were Ghanaian.
Yes, you were.
Solid.
Well, that was last week, of course. By the time you listen to this,
That's true.
you're right, Dave.
Yeah,
We-
look at that. I've just slipped. I'm not professional. Edit that out.
You've got the hang of this recording, like it's amazing.
A couple of other benefits: alignment. Obviously, if everyone's, you can get people, if you're away together, talking about priorities and
Yeah, and I don't think
everything
you
else.
have to formalise that. I think you could just align more just by casually chatting and having a chance to ask someone else in the company, what are you doing then? And why are we doing that? And all that stuff.
And some of the research as well talked about symbolism, which we sort of talked about, do we just do this because that's what we do? But is it almost an organisational ritual, which is one of those kind of psychologist things that people like to talk about?
Exactly.
Is it just something we do, which I suppose could be a good thing? Rituals can sometimes be good, but they also can sometimes just happen.
Yeah, I think
Because
as well,
they
if
happen,
if
tradition.
it happens at a certain time of year, it gives us a punctuation mark for the year.
Yeah.
Right, the autumn is starting. We now need to start thinking about the next year's budget and what the plans. But that all kicks off with this event. It's like the opening ceremony at the Olympics. It's not the sport itself, but it marks the beginning
marker.
of something.
So pitfalls then, mistaken activity for progress, thinking that just because you're doing it that you're actually moving something forward. But
You're right.
a lot of people would have that kind of, we know. Well, I think sometimes people go to these things and it's like, nothing's going to change. We're just going to write the same thing on the flipboard and put the same post.
Well, there's a certain degree of cynicism. Yeah, you're right. Oh, here we go again. We've got the motivational speaker coming in. And on the day, we're all going to leave G'd up and rah, rah, rah. And then
Or the people that don't get to go, that watch it, they go, look, that lot's going off for the old jolly and nothing's going to change
I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls. We didn't cover that here in particularly, but that feeling of being the 13th fairy.
The left behind.
Why didn't I get to go along? Or even I was invited, but it happened to land when I was on holiday, or I had a.
But what if you did that? Like, what if you did that?
party.
If you were, let's say you had 100 people, you can take 10 people away for your core day. You're going to take your direct, that's the way you're going to direct it. But then as a CEO, you say, do you know what? Right, I'm going to do 10 more of these with everyone in the company, groups of 10. We're not going to talk about different things, and maybe it's only half a day, but you're all getting access at that group of 10 level to the CEO. Yeah, there's an idea.
Well, there's one, I'm sure we've seen this at a client before, where there was a mid-morning sort of breakfast brunchy thing where pastries or whatever and a cup of coffee was provided with the MD. And then it was either random people selected, or on their birthday, or their work anniversary, or the employee of the month for that department. Imagine if you're a bigger company, what you want to make one of those sessions work really well is the leaders and the opinion formers in each area to be the ones that come and exchange thoughts, and maybe are prepared to represent the views of their colleagues, and then challenge people a bit more, and then they go back. So if you had something like that, who's the opinion former of that department, 10 departments maybe, you bring them all together, maybe 2 from each, then that would be a different way of doing it, rather than just taking your cozy group that you meet every month in the board meeting and just do the same old. Yeah. Especially if you want to get challenged, if you want to be challenged. And that's the pitfall, I think, getting the group right.
Yeah. Not coming up with false consensus, everyone just agreeing because they want to get onto the
Well, I mentioned that earlier, didn't I? That, is it really a discussion group about what their strategy should be, or are we just being told and we're expected to nod? And I think most of the time people presume it's the latter. So even if you think this is crazy, we're not really going to be able to take over that new market or develop this new product in 6 months' time or whatever. But I'll nod anyway because there's not space here to properly debate that. I'm going to suggest it might not be done. They're going to rebut to say, oh, yes, we've thought it all through. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. And then I just look like the naysayer. So I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, or just self-protection. I don't want to lose my job for being the one that sticks my hand up.
Yeah, quite.
There's always that problem as well with dominant voice. So if the CEO is quite dominant.
I'm here to pretend that we're all involved in the strategy. But here's my idea. Does anybody disagree? Right, no, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Off you trot then.
Go.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have an awful lot of poorly facilitated groups that masquerade then as a properly facilitated day where you're going through the steps, but all you're really doing is ticking the boxes.
So, I mean, there's other pitfalls as well, but one of the findings really is then how do you split the day? Do you do work on social? So some surveys suggest around a third work.
One third work.
1/3 work, 2/3 social team building. Mm-hmm. If people are going away, are they going away to work, or are they just going just to, relax a little bit, build the relationships? And that's maybe what some people have realised, that the value maybe isn't quite, maybe is not in the actual work bit, but in the actual spending of time together. Maybe
the dinner is not supporting the workshop, but the workshop is supporting the dinner.
Wow, there we go.
If that doesn't make it onto the soundbite reel, I don't know what we have to do.
Depends what's for dinner.
So should you do them? I think on balance, yes. We do them anyway, but we don't dress it up as a strategy day or a communications day. We do a very no expectations, just let's have a day out. If you want to do something with it, maybe formalise a bit of that. Maybe have a little bit of a beginning rather than end to get the serious bit out of the way.
I would say you're risking a lot by thinking that putting all your strategic eggs in a away day basket.
Lovely.
Strategy should be an evolving thing that is constantly.
Yeah, I don't think strategy happens because you said
we're going to spend some time apart and do it.
Oh, we haven't had a strategy. Let's have one now. Let's do this. Yeah.
You should have a strategy anyway. You should be evaluating whether your strategy is working or not continuously. And a away day then becomes, is it ratification? Is it slight challenge? Is it, you've got to think through. And I think a little bit like we say to people about exhibitions, if you're exhibiting, a lot of people put the effort into the day and making it happen with very little thought of what's going to happen after. Or even before. Are people prepared to come and all that? So I think if you're going to do it, it's worth putting the thought in to do it right.
And be prepared that it may not just have everybody agreeing and just nodding along. A good day may create a lot of disagreement.
Yeah.
So maybe that's okay. Maybe you just take that on board and, that's interesting. Let me go away and think about that. Or I'll give you my immediate thoughts, but I'm going to reflect on what you said. Or can we have a meeting next week and talk about that?
And people have different expectations around the amount of peril they want to be putting on these days as well.
Yeah.
Quite happily throwing people into whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
Other people
or flying down a zip wire with an oversized parachute, stopping you going too fast. These are all great leveling things.
These are very... Humility can be learnt often. So great.
Exactly.
The zip line is the great leveler.
Okay. Embarrass the boss. Okay, well, if you're thinking about your company away day / strategy day / whatever it is, office day out, then maybe that's some food for thought. Think about it. And interesting, if you Google it, just find out why do people do them and what makes a good one. And I'd be interested as I go around the clients to see, I'm going to do a little survey now, I think a little straw poll, what are people doing? Do they do them at all outside of the Christmas dinner? Good. Okay. Thank you very much for your research on that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and do one now.
Well, I wanted to do that one that is only for people of a certain shape, which is very non-inclusive. Not fair. They should just turn the fan up.
Just need a bigger fan.
We're talking about indoor skydiving for anybody that was interested. Anyway, thank you for listening to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow. Hopefully you found some of that interesting. If you did, please tell a business colleague, your friends, or maybe even discuss it at work and pass on the good news. Share the link to your friends. And in the meantime, good luck with your business.